The Old Testament lectionary reading for today comes from Isaiah chapter 61. The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me. He has sent me to bring good news to the oppressed, to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and release to the prisoners, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn, to provide for those who mourn in Zion, to give them a garland instead of ashes, the oil of gladness instead of mourning, the mantle of praise instead of a faint spirit. They will be called oaks of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, to display his glory. They shall build up the ancient ruins. They shall raise up former devastations. They shall repair the ruined cities, the devastations of many generations. This is the word of the Lord. This is a seminal text in that it offers to the reader, to the listener of the prophet, the proclamation of good news, that the Lord has seen the brokenness of his community. He has seen the ravages of the exile. He has seen the captivity in the hearts of his people, and he is moving and moving strongly to reclaim his people. This is the moment in time when the promise rings out, our God hears. Our God cares. Of course, we know the prophet is proclaiming to a people who many of whom have given up, many of whom have lost hope. And yet, underneath the sound of the brokenness of the human condition, underneath the sound of the vexing loss of the people of God, the faith of the people of God, there is a cadence, a movement of God's remnant. God always has a people. The prophet is proclaiming good news. Jesus takes this text, and we hear him speak it in the Gospels. He is taking this text and identifying with this text as the motif for his own ministry. He stands in the synagogue and says, "Today this text is fulfilled in your hearing." And then he goes about, which is a messianic promise, and he goes about doing healings and fulfilling that calling of that text. The message here is clear, that the Lord God never one time, not one moment, has not heard our cry. He's not forgotten us. Even in our sickness and sorrow and diseased heart, His love for us has not faltered. He has not become faint. But in the Christ, He is moving toward us, constantly moving forward toward us, toward our brokenness, toward our lives, that our lives might be fulfilled in Him. Not in our own selfishness and not in the self-life, that we would find in Him, through the Christ, fulfillment, a life that's worthy to be lived, a life based upon giving of ourselves to others, which is the pattern of the self-giving, self-revealing God who is there. So that is the Easter moment. That is the calling that we have. Not just the victory of the empty tomb, but the calling that we are to share the good news, to relieve the brokenness, to bring new life to people who are lost. And I don't just mean spiritually lost, I'm talking about physically lost. People who have lost their way. We recall Jesus looking out over the city of Jerusalem and seeing that they were like sheep with no shepherd. It broke his heart. That's the suffering servant, the broken-hearted one that can't bear to see the others beside them lost. Gathers them up, brings them home, accepts them as they are, loves them. That's what faith and grace really mean, to love the other to care about the other, even when it costs.